She's a winner. And welcome to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, where you take enlightened entrepreneurs, coaches, and influencers together to discuss cutting-edge topics in the world of relationships, culture, business, and spirituality. And here's your host, Miss Carol Boston.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show. Those of you who follow me know that entrepreneurship hasn't really been intuitive for me. It's been a tremendous learning process, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you that show up here every week, and for all the guests that I've had that I get to learn from. It's been a fantastic opportunity. Now, those of you who follow me know what? I'm your weather girl, and today, oh my God, Chamber of Commerce Day here in South Florida. There is not a cloud in the sky, 74 degrees. I think I might go for a walk right after this. What are you doing to love yourself first? For those of you who looked at my title, let's take a look at that today. What have you done today? What are you doing on a regular basis to love yourself first? And before I introduce our guest real quick, who I'm very excited to introduce, Coach Lee. He's where it's really cold in Chicago. One of the things I haven't shared with him is that a week ago, Monday, I had him on my live show, my Facebook live show on Monday, but a week before that, I had a session with a light worker named Erin. She's amazing. And one of the processes she took me through, at the end, she said to me, "So what word came up for you?" And I said, self-love. Whoa, believe it or not. And then all of a sudden, Coach Lee appears. We're talking about self-love. So nothing is a coincidence. I'm excited to have Coach Lee here today. Coach Lee, come on stage. Let everybody know where you're chiming in from and what the weather's like where you are.
Hey, I'm Coach Lee. I am hailing from Chicago, Illinois. It is kind of warm, relatively, out here. It's kind of warm. It's 40-something degrees, and it seems like the sun wants to peek out, but it's hanging out behind some clouds today.
Well, I'm sending you love and sunshine from here because it is bright sunny here in South Florida.
I'm a bit jealous.
Now, when we first hopped on and I asked you how you were doing, you said you were a little stressed, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got a big event coming up in 3 days. Actually, it starts in 2 days, Friday evening, correct?
Friday evening, that's right.
And we're going to talk about that for sure. And we're going to have a special invitation. So if you're here, make sure you know we're here. Give StreamYard permission so that we can see your comments. We love to have a dialogue, not monologues. I know I have some voyeurs every time, and they tell me later on, "Oh, I watched your show." Well, today we want to hear you, and we want you to engage with Coach Lee. But before we hop into the event and talk about that, I'd like you to tell the audience a little bit. I didn't even tell them what you do or who you are, because I want you to do that. I love how it comes from you with such authenticity. So tell us about you.
And that is the key, authenticity, to make sure that you show up as your authentic self. That means showing up as a person who understands how I feel and is willing and open to share. By the way, what I do for a living, why I'm here, I'm a social connections coach. I help people make more meaningful connections in their personal and professional life. And authenticity is the absolute key. I got stuck being inauthentic, worrying about how other people think and how they feel about me. And I took it on as my responsibility to make sure that everyone was okay and comfortable with me. And I realized that I was being very inauthentic. And once I discovered more about how I can make myself be a little more me, I help other people do that for themselves too. Make those connections.
So you had a great story the other day that I'd like you to share with our audience as well, about how you ended up in Chicago.
Oh,
Right? You thought it was about everybody else.
Yes, Chicago. Just like I said, I was really thinking that I needed to be somebody else. I need to fit in with groups and tribes, and that's like one of the things that we hear over and over again. That's one of those mantras that you might hear. You know, you've got to go find your tribe. Not everybody's gonna like you. You're not gonna fit in. Go find a place that you fit in. And I heard that, and I took that literally. I started in Ohio. And as I was growing up in Ohio, I was like, I'm not fitting in anywhere in this hometown. So I moved from place to place to place within Ohio, famously every 15 months for about 15 years. I found myself moving from Ohio to California, moving around there too. Like, oh, they're not here. This is not the right group. It's not the right group. Then I had an opportunity to move to Chicago, where I am today, and this interesting weather that we have outside. I got a chance to move here, and I was thinking, even though I moved to Chicago, or even though I moved to California, it wasn't a big, big place. It wasn't San Francisco. It wasn't LA. It was the Central Valley. But I thought, okay, well, maybe it'll be okay. But when I had an opportunity to move to Chicago, I thought the reason why I'm not making friends, the reason why I'm not connecting with people is because I was just in the wrong place. Again, I needed to be in a bigger city. Chicago's the third largest city in the States. If I'm here, I'm going to make these authentic connections. Carol, guess what?
Tell me.
you know, that didn't happen. That didn't happen because wherever you go, there you are. The
Yes.
inauthentic person I was in Ohio, in California, came with me to Chicago, and there was nothing here for me. I could not connect with people. Instead of moving from city to city, I was moving from neighborhood to neighborhood for a little bit until
Mm.
I discovered what it really means to love yourself first.
What a powerful story. And I want you to kind of talk a little bit about the power of choice. And we can talk a little bit again about the 4 levels of responsibility, right? When we're operating at level 4, because as long as we think it's something outside of us, right, we blame the other people. Like you said, you were blaming the location. You didn't know. You just kept thinking, I'm in the wrong place because everybody says, go find your tribe.
Yeah.
And yet, when you learned that it was about you and then you were choosing and you got to make different choices, all of a sudden you had all of this power back, right?
Yeah, and that was so remarkable to even not even know that that was happening. Not even
Mm.
know that that was happening, but when they discovered that, yeah, it's me making the choice. I thought that I was making the choice to move from California to Chicago, and that was it. And that was the thing that was going to change my life. But it's something more granular in specific situations that you have with other people. Are you going to hide? Are you going to hide how you really feel? Or are you going to show up authentically and speak your truth? Share what's really on your heart, even though people aren't going to like it. And that is scary. That is something that's scary to do. And that's one of the biggest choices that I had to make, was to continue to do that, even though people wouldn't like what I'd have to say. They were absolutely cheer. And I know I'm using the word terrified to grab your attention. Grab. I gotcha. But it terrified. I'll tell you a super quick story about this, because the when I became aware of the choice that I was making, it was I was in Chicago, and I am part of the LGBTQ community. I'm a trans man, transgendered man. So a lot of people don't know what that is, or didn't know what it is, didn't understand it. But I was like, this is my truth. I have to share it. I don't want to make connections with people if they don't know this about me. I have to be authentic, you know? So I go to this meetup, which is at a comedy club, and I have this new positive mindset too. I have all the things working for me, all the regular tropes and the rhetoric, like positive thinking, go be yourself. When I go to this club and I'm like, I'm gonna meet somebody, I'm gonna have a conversation. That's my goal. Sure enough, I go to the club. During intermission, I meet someone, we start talking, and it feels really good. I'm like, okay, this cool, this guy is pretty cool. And I'm like, remember, Lee, remember, you've got to tell them about the LGBT stuff, just so you don't create this inauthentic connection. And I thought right
Mm.
away I needed to do that. And so I leaned the conversation towards LGBT stuff, just not to overwhelm. And they said, I don't really know about trans people. I don't have anything against them. And I thought, okay, this is my time to shine. It seems like it's safe. I'm going to share my story. And I open my mouth to say, I'm trans. And they freeze. And they, in so much that they stop talking, they just left. Didn't say
Mm.
anything else to me. They just left. Like, wow,
Mm.
that was painful. That was rejection. That was everything I didn't want. Like, what is the universe trying to do to me here? What is it trying to do? So, facing that kind of thing and knowing that's a possibility will get you to make the choice not to share your truth. But I discovered that everything that happened in that event, it was supposed to happen the way it did, and that well, direct redirection. Rejection is redirection. What I want to say. And so, even though it was a painful moment, I don't want to be with anybody who doesn't really care to understand me deeply or can't understand the authentic parts of who I am. And that's what I think the biggest choice is that do you want to hang on to somebody who really just doesn't know you? Or do you want to make that choice to let go and see what else is out there?
Wow, you bring up two or three things that I'm thinking about. One is that the universe wasn't doing anything to you; it was doing everything for you. You just didn't know it. And listen, we can put Yana in the comments. Aruba, if you can, Yana, you are not alone, because let me know I'm not alone. Right? I've done that too. And the second thing I'm thinking about is we talk about all of the loneliness in the world. I remember a few years ago, actually it was before COVID, I'd gone to a conference in Orlando. And I got up on Sunday morning to leave, and it was blanket in fog. You couldn't even see. So I'm like, I'm not going to risk getting on the road. I went down and got a newspaper and another cup of coffee. And I came upstairs and I opened up the newspaper, and there it was, front page of the life section. Millennials say their biggest problem is they're lonely.
Ooh.
Now, what came out of my head and my mouth was, well, get up off the effing couch and go down the other end of the couch and talk to somebody, right? Get off your phone. I was like, holy crap. I saw a
Mhm.
couple the other day, supposedly on a dinner date, both of them in their phone like this. Like, what kind of date is that?
Mhm.
Right? So, what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is that what you're bringing to this event this weekend is so important, because oftentimes people do what? They will stay in an unhealthy relationship because what? They don't want to be alone.
Mhm. Absolutely.
They'd rather be with someone, like you just said, who doesn't really accept them for who they are, doesn't support them, doesn't then rather than be alone. So let's talk a little bit about that process, and if you were going to tell our audience just one step. I know there's multiple steps, but if you could tell them one step that you took or that you think is powerful towards really loving ourselves, that would be great for this audience.
Wonderful. And I'd love to share with you this one tip. I talk about this quite often in this thing I call the cycle of loneliness, where we continue to
Mm.
try to do things to connect with people, but we miss this one step. And if it's just one thing that I could share with this audience, it is counterintuitive. So I know you might want to reach to the screen and smack me upside the head, but I'm going to tell you, spend time alone. Spend time alone. The thing is that you may have heard this before. I've heard it before. You got to spend some time alone, but doing what? That's the key. Doing what? Sulking over whether people like you or not, or trying to figure out how to get into groups. That's not what you need to be doing when you're alone. Spending time alone, listening to yourself, understanding what's important and interesting to you is where you need to be. You do that, everything else will start falling into place. It's guaranteed.
So you remind me of two things. Are you familiar with who Mel Robbins is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I figured you were, but I always ask.
Yeah.
But I don't want to assume.
5-second rule. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. So the other day I'm watching her on TikTok, and she was talking about, she gave statistics. It was a huge statistic, like 91% or something of women don't like how they look. And 56% of men, something, these amazing statistics. And she was talking about that. And she said, go in the mirror. And when you're looking in the mirror, you get to be aware that there's two people in the room. There's you, and there's the person in the mirror. And she said, what I want you to do that's super powerful every day is to look at, oh, that's what it was. 56% of all men they don't look in the mirror. They won't look in the mirror. It was incredible. And so she said, look in the mirror, and I want you to look at that person and say, tell me what one thing I could do for you today that you need so that you would feel loved by me. And it was like
Oh.
powerful. This guy that was interviewing her said, well, I never look in the mirror. Why do you think that is? And she said, well, tell us, right? He didn't,
Nice.
he wanted her to, you know. And so I thought, what a powerful thing to do every day. And she talked about how hard it is. Another thing she gives people and her clients to do is to look in the mirror in the morning and say, I love you. Give yourself a high five before you leave the bathroom or wherever the mirror is, and say, you got it today. You got it going on today. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, you have to do that. You have to. That is self-love right there. And I really like that, well, the statistics are quite astounding. It's like, wow. And the person who's interviewing him, that message was meant directly for them in
Yeah.
that situation. I think too that, wow, he didn't want to share why. He
He
didn't
never did, at least in
he
the
didn't
episode part that I watched. And we have a comment here from welcome, Sandy. So good to have you. She says, that's me. And she said, mic drop. That is
mm,
powerful. So yeah. No,
yeah.
he didn't ever share.
But see, the thing is that we know, like, you know yourself. You know yourself. Like Mel, when she said, "Oh, why don't you tell us?" And she's like, "I'm not you. Nobody knows you better than you. Nobody
Right.
knows you better than you." So spend some time. I know all of us are looking outward. Our eyes have us looking outward. We're listening to other things and people. We don't want to pay attention to us and our uniqueness and what's really awesome about us, but we need to understand us. We need to know and love and appreciate us. Show that high five. Do a high five and show appreciation for who you are, and be more
Yeah.
comfortable with saying, this is why I do what I do. This is how I feel about me and my experiences, and they're great. I love them. I like them. So I really believe that is the key to this loving yourself first, doing those kind of things so it feels really real. Go through the motions, see how you feel in that space when you give yourself a high five. I remember when I was starting to do some of these exercises and look at myself in the mirror and stuff, and I'm just like picking apart myself, this isn't right, this is wrong, I need to be this, I need to look like this, I need to lose some weight, you know, it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good. And it was, why I didn't want to look in the mirror or wouldn't want to look in the mirror. I want to make it real quick. Just boop. I don't want to see whatever this is happening here. Let me just get out of the face. Let me just get out of there. But when
Mhm.
you step in and you celebrate yourself, it feels completely different. It's hard to do at first, but man, it feels really good. You get smiling and loving on yourself.
Talk about that uncomfortableness when you first start out.
Oh, this uncomfortableness. Oh man, I don't want to look. Like I don't want to look at it's awful. It doesn't feel good. I feel like I would imagine immediately the self-esteem goes away. Like hearing what other people might think of me and how I might look. I'm not wearing the best clothes, or my face isn't shaped perfectly. My hair isn't done the right way. My glasses aren't the right frame for my face, or something's missing, and just completely hearing other people's thoughts. It's uncomfortable. When I look in the mirror, I hear everybody else's thoughts, and it's uncomfortable to continue to listen to those people. What about me? And how do I get those people out of my head? It's just uncomfortable to sit and figure that piece out, and to drone it out and to give myself a high five is hard to do because wait a minute, what are you high fiving yourself for? All these people don't like you. What are you doing? There's nothing here to celebrate. And to get over that or to get more clarity, just you feel the fear, you feel the discomfort, and you realize that it's uncomfortable to hear all those people, but what if you continued? That's one of the things that kept me going. What if you just tried, see how you feel? Just stay there even for a moment. Does that feel good just for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. What if you did it again tomorrow? Yeah. And those people will fade away.
And what's interesting, and I don't know if you and I talked about this the other day, is that other people's opinions and judgments of us are none of our business, right?
Mm,
Because it's not about us, it's about them.
hmm
And so obviously you've made great strides in how do I not only understand that and own that? I mean, honestly, I totally own that. I have people say something to me and I'll just go, yeah, what's going on inside of you today? And they're like,
Yeah.
what? They're like, what? I'm like, because that's not about me, right? It's like, I've asked this of people. Think about this. You're holding a cup of coffee and somebody comes along and jostles your arm and coffee spills out of the cup. So why is it that coffee spilled out of the cup?
um that got jostled, they
Mm.
hit your wrist or hit your elbow.
Coffee spilled out of the cup because coffee was in the cup. If there had been tea or water in the cup, that's what would spill out. So when you or somebody else gets triggered, you get jostled, what comes out of you, even if you're spewing at the other person, is something that was already in you. It's not
Mhm.
about them.
I
And
love that.
are you willing to stop and take a look at that? I remember this is decades ago, back in the early 90s, and I was in therapy. And I remember saying something to my therapist, like there was a very, very heavy set, obese woman in our office. And for some reason, it just really bugged me, really got under my skin. And so my therapist looks at me one day, and all she said was, "So, Carol, what is it you don't like about your body?" And that's when I
Ooh.
learned my judgment wasn't about that person at all. It was about what was I unhappy with me that I wasn't willing to address. And so, in order for me to not look at me, I was choosing to look at somebody else,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely.
That changed how I see other people. It was incredible how impactful that was for me.
That was quite moving. It's very powerful. That realization that, you know, whoever it is that we see or we're judging, we have something about ourselves that we're judging or we don't like or we're frustrated with, and we just don't know. We just don't know it. We don't spend that time with ourselves to look in the mirror
Right.
and say anything like, "Oh, this is what I like," or "What don't I like about this?" or "Why don't I like these? What can I do about this feeling? Is there anything that I really need to do?" to do is it something that I really need to change about myself? Do I am I still gonna like myself? Asking those really difficult questions and reflecting, and I think that's a very powerful way to get started on the journey. If you catch yourself judging somebody else, if you catch yourself wanting to insult or hurt someone else, then certainly you look back at yourself and think, why are you feeling that way? We are mirrors of each other. A nice
Yes,
reflection of how you show up is what you want to say or what you want to do or how you feel about somebody else. And that goes for the good stuff too. That goes for the good stuff. I really love it because those people that have this good feeling is really just infectious. It's, well, I'm not in competition with you. I think you're fantastic because all of that's in me. I also see myself as being fantastic.
exactly. And it's an old cliche, right? When you got one finger pointing at somebody else, you got three pointing back at you.
Mm-hmm.
So, what if you could take that? I love what you just said. We don't talk about that very often. So, I'm the kind of person when I walk in the store and I don't know you and I see you and you have a beautiful smile, I'm just going to say, "Hey, you have a beautiful smile." Right. And what does it do?
Yeah,
It makes me smile.
absolutely.
So think about all the times that you're giving compliments to somebody else on things that you may not be giving compliments to yourself on. And yet you have those same attributes because they're mirroring them back to you. And your ability to recognize them and compliment them says it's in you.
Mm.
Pretty powerful. Let's
Yeah.
talk a little, man, time is flying
Yeah.
by today. We try to keep this to 30 minutes, but talk to us about your conference that's coming up. I'm so excited you've asked me. I'm honored to be the hot seat coach on Saturdays. It's going to be amazing. Everybody gets to watch. It's going to be so cool. But tell us all about the conference and then how we can participate. And what is our expectation when we come to the conference?
Oh yeah, the expectation. So the conference is a 3-day conference, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And don't worry, we'll be done before the Super Bowl. You're gonna be all loved up and charged up if you're interested in watching the Super Bowl. Don't worry. So what you can expect when you're coming to this conference is lots of inspiration, speakers, interaction. You're gonna be able to talk to our world-class coaches on a one-on-one coaching session. You get a one-on-one 30-minute coaching session with the coach of your choice, which is absolutely amazing. It's unheard of because some of these coaches and their prices are pretty high and they don't do individual sessions. So you get to have an individual session here in the conference as part of the conference package. And you also get to connect with other people who have the same kind of mindset. If you're feeling this loneliness, it's likely because you are changing. you are evolving. You are becoming someone who wants to love themselves and understand themselves more. You're leaving that victim mentality. You're ready to make choices, and you want to be around other people who want to do the same kind of thing, who feel empowered and bring that kind of energy that you're looking for. You are going to be able to go into breakout sessions with guided connection with them. We're also going to have meditation. We're also have prizes, which is really, really cool. Connection connection platform XXO Connect is going to give away one grand prize for a month, a month with them. So I can't tell you too much about it right here. We're running a bit out of time, so I can't tell you too much about it, but I want you to check out the conference page. You're absolutely going to see all the details of it. But what I'm really, really excited about is watching coaching in action. Now, Carol Boston has agreed graciously to be our hot seat coach. And if you're not familiar with hot seat coaching, what it is, it's an hour of coaching in front of an audience. So that way, because we just talked about mirrors and reflection and learning from each other, if you see something that resonates when you, because the person who's going to be coached, it might be you. It might be you if you're joining the conference. We're going to let you know who the winner is a day before the coaching session. We do have a link to register. We'll make sure to get that to you in a minute, Sandy. But you actually will be
Aruba, if
able
you
to.
could put the link I sent you earlier, the link to the conference
Okay.
underneath Coach Lee's name right now, that would be awesome.
Absolutely. So great. And so when you hot seat coaching, it's 1 hour coaching session with Carol Boston, who is going to be a phenomenal coach. You're going to be able to have your experiences reflected right back to you, and you're going to know, like we said at the beginning, like Carol said at the beginning, you are not alone. You're going to watch this brave soul talk about their experiences and share them open and honestly. You're going to get some nuggets of information to help you out with that. But Carol is one amazing award-winning coach. You already knew that because I'm on her platform. You already follow her. You already know this stuff. But imagine seeing that in action. Imagine having that coaching session with her. So you can expect 3 days of fun, real connection, excitement, self-discovery, everything. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I will also be speaking about social connections coaching as well. And there's going to be so many other great, fantastic speakers.
Awesome. And if we don't get the link up, Sandy, please DM me. Just send me a DM and I'll make sure that you get the link. As a matter of fact, Coach Lee gave me permission to use a link that gives you 50% off because you're here today. So you still okay with that, Coach Lee?
I am absolutely. I am absolutely.
So I want to reflect on a couple of things. We only have a couple of minutes. Dang, you're going to have to come back.
I know.
This has been really, really good. And I like exploring this kind of stuff. Because I remember in my last relationship, I don't know if I shared that with you, how many times, oh my God, countless times when I said, stop disrespecting me.
Ooh.
And it wasn't until, who knows, all of a sudden one day, I had this epiphany, right? We talked about you can't read the label when you're inside the jar, right? And we're all in a jar. And so when we ask these empowering questions, they bring the new awarenesses into our jar. So I'd been asking, what one thing can I do, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, one day I had this epiphany. Oh, there's no repercussions for her disrespecting me. I just keep saying, stop. There's no repercussions. And I said to myself, that means I'm disrespecting me.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
I am. Because my boundaries are not solid. There's no repercussions. That I'm telling you, that awareness began to change everything for me. And so I'm grateful for having gone through that because I get to help my clients set healthier boundaries. A lot of times, as women were raised, don't rock the boat, don't walk on eggshells, just smile and make everybody else happy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, codependency abounds. Been there, done that. And because we don't have solid boundaries. So yeah, I'd love to bring you back again. Tell everybody one more time how they can get connected to you. And Aruba, I sent you the link in the private chat. If you could post it here for me real quick.
Yeah, you can find me at patternsofpossibility.com, Patterns of Possibility on all social media. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok most of the time. I go live just about every day so far. This week I've gone live every day, but I go live 3 days a week. 3 days a week, you can catch me, ask your questions about social connections, coaching, social connections, meaningful relationships in your personal and professional life. Carol, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to share the stage with you. I can't wait for a couple of days. We're going to be doing this. I can't wait to see your coaching in action.
I am excited, and we've got a mic and video check tonight too, don't we?
Yeah, yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Oh my gosh. Sandy wrote, woo, repercussion. Exactly. There was no repercussion. So much we can talk about. Love to have you back here again. This has been the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show with Carol Boston. If you're watching this on #replay, DM me. Let me give you the link and come spend time with us. It starts Friday evening. It's 3 or 4 hours Friday evening. And look below, there's a link right there, a calendar link to connect with Coach Lee on the patterns of
that's not quite the right link. That's not the right link. It's there's another link.
It's the bit.ly link up at the beginning. Link. Yeah. I'll make sure it gets in the comments and we put it in, and so that it's there for everybody. And like I say, #replay, DM me. I'll make sure you get the link. And I'll be posting about this in here for the next couple of days to get you started and get you there. Thank you again, Coach Lee. Thank you, everybody. Blessings to each and every one of you. I hope to see you there on Saturday. You might be the person who gets to get hot seat coaching from me. There's the link right there at the bottom. Thank you, Aruba. Awesome job. That's where you can go and sign up. What else can we say?
What else can we say? I'll see you there. I'll see you there.
Love yourself first and give to others from your overflow. Blessings, everybody. Make it a great week. See you next Wednesday.
Thank you for listening to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, brought to you by Life Coaching Today magazine, empowering your health, your business, your community, your life. Check out the latest issue today at lifecoachingtoday.com. Everyone here at the True Awesome Network asks you to please subscribe, like, comment, and spread